3, and we'd like to call this regularly scheduled school board meeting to order. Ms. Rigsby, can you establish a quorum through roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Hodge.
Present.
Mr. Humphrey.
Present.
Ms. Patton.
Present.
Ms. Pearson.
Present.
Student Representative Alex Belton.
Present.
Thank you.
We do have a quorum. Can we all please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you all for being here this evening. In the absence of our president, I will serve in his stead for tonight's meeting. Before we get started tonight, I want to thank everyone for coming out on the wet and cold evening to do the business of our district, which I think is the most important business of the day. So with that being said, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda with one edit. Today we will be adding item 2.02, a municipal partners report to today's agenda. Second. It has been moved properly second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Same privilege. The ayes have it. Thank you. The first thing we'd like to do is we would like to ask Mayor Jefferson to please take the podium this evening in representing the municipal partners of 24-1.
Good evening, everyone. I came to give a brief update from the 24-1 Municipal Partnership. The first thing we have is the Transportation Development District. Currently 20 municipalities that have adopted the preliminary resolution. The TDD subcommittee will resume meeting at the end of this month. The subcommittee is in the process of filing a petition with St. Louis County for the TDD to be on the election ballot. Public engagement for the TDD will start this May, which will offer residents a chance to learn more about the TDD before the election in November of '24. The other thing I have is Rainscaping Small Grants Program. MSD, the Metropolitan Sewer District, is working with Missouri Botanical Gardens as part of their Project Clear to offer the Rainscaping Small Grants Program. Rainscaping is any type of plantings, water features, catch basins, and permeable pavements that help manage stormwater. Beyond Housing has offered to host an orientation on this grant program to the 24-1 Municipal Partnership. The orientation will take place Thursday, February 8th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Beyond Housing. And my last announcement, free meals provided by Wellston. On Saturday, January 20th, 2024, Wellston community members and elected officials will be providing free meals to those in need. Meals will be offered to individuals from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Wellston City Hall. No registration is necessary to attend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the partnership with 24-1 and Beyond Housing. At this time, you all know that we have reinstated public comments during our regular scheduled meetings. And so we'd like to invite Mr. Campbell to comment the parameters around public comments before we have 3 guests this evening to have comments.
Good evening, and thank you for attending tonight's Northern Schools Collaborative Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, the importance of conducting a productive and orderly meeting. For those community members in attendance who have signed up for public comments, please come to the podium when the board president calls your name. Out of respect for everyone in attendance, yelling, foul language, props, visuals, and addressing the audience are not permitted. Public speakers may not identify staff or students by name. In addition, audience members are not allowed to speak, yell, or cause any disruption during public comments. This ensures the Board of Education is able to listen and transition to the next speaker. The remainder of the meeting is dedicated to work with the superintendent and staff to conduct work as outlined in the agenda. Patrons who stay in attendance for the remainder of the meeting after public comments may do so in an observatory role. Please note that any of those who disrupt the meeting in any capacity will leave and may lose their opportunity to attend future meetings. Thank you again for attending, and we will now proceed with the agenda.
Mr. Campbell, how much time do they have again?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, is that right, 2 minutes?
Yes, sir, 2
That
minutes.
sounds wonderful, great. Is it 3 minutes?
Oh, 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 3 minutes.
Okay, good, we just got 1 extra minute. All right, that sounds good. So, Ms. Deanna Davis Day, you have an opportunity that has not been taken advantage of in more than 5 years, 5 or 6 years. So we welcome you.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Deanna Davis Day. I am a parent, I am alumni, and I am also a former staff member. I see this district through several different lenses. There are several factors contributing to the failure of our current district. The largest contributor, I say, is the refusal to genuinely and truly engage with and support parents. Parent involvement is largely contributed to the success of any school district. We see this with our early learning center. Month after month, we sit in our board meetings and our admin agrees to start parent groups. First it was the PTO, then it was the parent university, and now we're calling the meetings that the superintendent is holding a parent advisory council, which is not headed by any parents. We're also holding that meeting from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Asking for parent support and then holding a meeting during working hours is not only contradicting, it's disrespectful to the parents and the district. This is not rocket science. Parent support groups should not take this long. And as parents, we're really tired of waiting for the parent support groups. I'm gonna go ahead and enter. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deanna Davis Day. We appreciate you for the work and the comments this evening. Ms. Michaela Walker. Good evening.
My son goes to the middle school, and I'm really. So, after the first semester, I guess the staffing has gone down, so the kids aren't. So they don't have, let's just say, the health teachers in the room today. They don't have a substitute, they stay in one class all day. So that means then if his math teachers are there, which is his home class, like he's not moving around to the other 4 classes. And it's not helping bridge the gap in what they're not learning. I've talked to very transition, but we're now on the back end of the scorecard. I was told that semester didn't matter, they were in transition. They're gonna figure out a workaround. I talked to his, she's on board with me, she's saying she can't give him a grade because she hasn't seen him. So now his math teacher is no longer there, so he's in the class with a substitute. but now they're giving an exam. He knows how I feel about grades, so he's like freaking out about that, but it's partly his doing, because he also needs to get his grades together, but he can't do that if he's not learning, and he's not put in an environment to learn. So when you're not going to class, how can you learn? And then now, he's also worried about math testing. How can you be successful with math testing when you're not going to class? English teacher, she said a lot of the students aren't even on a 7th grade level. So you can't even get them to a 7th grade level if they're not in class. So I'm just concerned that the No Child Left Behind thing is not very beneficial to everybody. Like, it's just kind of like pushing them along, but how you go to high school? And you can't even put them into a different district because they're not ready, or they're going to be feeling like it's going to be discouraging trying to go to a different district when you haven't been to class. So I'm just concerned that nobody really knows that this is going on. I'm just concerned that the kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker.
Thank you.
Finally, we have Ms. Rashida Whitfield.
Good evening, my name is Ms. Whitfield, and my student attends North Carolina District. During the meeting, I would like to explore Norby's provisional accreditation and what other staff are going to close this gap and ensure Norby School Collaborative District gets the district full accredited. A multitude of students are more than 3 or more grade levels behind. Many students are failing at an rate. Plagued with trauma and discord in some homes, what resources does Norby School Collaborative District have for these students, or any outlets? The district is in dire need of teachers and subs with a significant shortage of teachers. What do we do as a district to get the necessary personnel to be in the classes with these students and not push them off to subs or other personnel like nurses and principals and things of that nature? So that our students will be equipped with the necessary tools in order to efficiently go to their expected grade or next grade level. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Whitfield. And we thank all of those who have submitted their comments in advance of this meeting. Your comments are critically important. Your voices are critically important. All of us recognize responsible to ultimately in this district. So while we do not respond directly to your comments, please know that you've been heard. And your comments will be a part of our conversation and governance of this district. So thank you. Rehan, I think we've got public comments now under section 4.0.
Evening, Superintendent, board members. We have one recognition for this evening. It's pretty important. It's for technology recognition. Excuse me, following up on the recognition we had in December. We want to congratulate Normandy Middle School at Lucas Crossing. We received a $30,000 technology grant, $30,000 technology grant from the Innovative Technology Education Fund. This will have a significant impact on enhancing educational experiences, improving technology, and fostering a more technology-advanced learning environment at the school. The school plans to use these funds to purchase supplies, including tablets and chargers. And staff will also utilize the grant proceeds to attend full-day professional development opportunities offered by the Missouri State Teachers Association. They have a project-based learning and using STEM to leverage authentic learning for students. At this time, we want to recognize Ms. Passion Bragg and Dr. Vivian Johnson, who were instrumental in completing the application. And we also want to give a shout out to our IT department for their assistance in making sure that this grant was successful. So, see if and Mr. Williams, principal as well.
Good evening, Superintendent Board members. We're excited about this grant. This is something that we're moving to the next level as far as moving our STEM program, and this is one step toward that. But of course, I couldn't do this important work without two innovative teachers, and I'm going to give them a chance to get up here and talk about the excitement we have for this grant.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for this recognition, and I am excited about STEM, as Ms. Bragg is as well. And we are always looking for opportunities to improve our STEM program through resources and other program initiatives. My goal is simply to prepare our students for jobs that do not exist, and to prepare them with skills that they will be competitive in this 21st century job market. So I'm always excited about STEM. I'm excited about this grant because it will actually give us the opportunity to upgrade our technology, which has been about 5 years, and things wear out. So we can upgrade the technology for the library as well as the Project Lead the Way room. That's where I teach computer science and Project Lead the Way. So I'm very excited even about our professional development opportunities, which will be STEM-based and project learning-based. Thank you.
Thank you, Board, for this opportunity. I just wanted to know what Dr. Johnson just said. We always dialogue about how we can bring the best resources to our students, because we do want to have a pipeline for higher ed for our children. And it's just been a great joy to be able to serve these students and to work.
Give our board members an opportunity to respond to what they've heard, because I do believe that this is a kind of effort beyond all the challenges and opportunities and responsibilities that you have during to secure these kind of resources for our students. And so I'd like to start with, I think at the far end of the table, we have Ms. Bolden. Ms. Bolden, if you have any comments, we'd like to hear them at this time.
You guys are doing issues for a long time, so I know, and
Ms. Patton. Oh, Ms. Pearson, I don't know the order, I'm sorry. Ms. Pearson.
Congratulations. Thank you all for everything. Ms. Johnson, you have been in the district for my teacher at one point. So we appreciate you. Thank you for looking for the future of our students.
Now, Ms. Patton.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, and Passion. Mama would be proud of you. So that goes way back. Y'all can ask me after the meeting. And thank you for all you do. I know that you all have passion and commitment to making sure that the students thrive in this district. So thank you so much for all of your efforts.
Well, thank you as well. You know, as I listen to the excitement in your voices, I would like to see that excitement become infectious across the district because of innovation that we're putting in places. I know that in the coming months, we're going to be having, and you said something that I did hear. You talked about upgrading equipment that you hadn't been for 5 years. And so as we move forward to have those conversations around budget, that we need to make sure that we're addressing those things, because we all know that technology, every 3 to 5 years, is either going to wear out. And so we need to make certain that we are paying attention to that. So just know that I heard that comment, and I did in fact make note of it. And thank you very much for the things that you're doing for our kids.
Ms. Violet.
Thank you so much for your work, for your labor, and all that you went through to secure the funds. And I like what you said. You said that we are preparing students for jobs that have not been created. And that's what we want. We want our children to know that when you leave, you don't plan to work for anyone. You can plan to work for yourself. And so it gives them that creativity and, you know, let's be, you know, I can be and I can do more of what, you know, the normal stats are. And so that's what we want. We want nothing but the best for our children. So keep up the great work. We appreciate your hard work.
Great, thank you so much. And Mr. Williams, I was talking to you out in the hall before the meeting. Do you have any bonus announcements that you'd like to share with us? It's just too early.
Too early.
It's too early. Okay, well, I want to just say good things are coming from our middle school, and we just thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. Y'all know these folks are likely to just stop you, and you just be walking in the street, and Miss Passion will stop her car and tell you about the wonderful stuff that she's doing. So we are grateful to have you in our communities and doing the great work that you're doing for our children. So thank you so much. Can we give them another round of applause? Okay, so I think we're ready to go to items 5.01, items for information. We have an update from KAI, Central Hall Classroom, wall updates, and perspective change report. Mr. Brooks.
Good evening, Board. I'm going to actually be handling that, and we do have Mr. Justin Haynes, an executive with our instruction manager at KAI, present in case you have questions that I can't quite address. At this time, we wanted to just basically bring to your attention an item on the agenda that's actually up for action. But we're working in the high school with our programming around Prop V to basically do repair work or some work coating on walls, classroom walls in that facility. We've got what basically amounts to hockey puck indentions in walls. I think you all have seen the pictures we've provided you with what that current walls look like. After the abatement and the removal of asbestos, etc., we have these hockey puck openings in the walls, and so we want to correct that. We want those walls, we want the quality of that facility to be just top shelf. And we are mimicking basically what was done in East Hall. So we are just bringing this before you, and you've had a chance to look at the diagrams and the pictures of the work. The cost on this effort is going to be about $210,000. And again, this is an action item this evening that we're bringing before you as the board. Any questions?
Right now, this item is under items for information. I assume that it is going to be included in the items for action under 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Board members, are there any questions about this expense at this point?
There's no question about the expense, but I think in the information that if the board desires to make this an item for action, piece of the footprint that needs to happen in order to start. This should have been an item for action, you was showing this item of information.
It is included in items for action, as we discussed. This is just I guess, an informative piece of that presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So it will come up for vote under items for action. Okay, are there any other comments, questions? All right, thank you, Dr. Gross, Mr. Gross. Moving on to item 5.2, year-to-date financial summary. Will you be offering that to us also, Mr. Gross?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm going going to basically, a brief PowerPoint that I'd like to take you through. Again, this is the financial picture for the district through November 30th, 2023. So year-to-date financial assessment of the district's operations. We are in a fairly strong position. Through November, we had roughly $28.5 million in savings, basically in our fund balance reserves, which equates to about a 42.35% fund balance reserve picture. We had year-to-date revenues that we've collected through November 30th that total $16.1 million. In addition to that, we have, of course, expenditures that are up, that total just under $25 million. But this leaves us with still a solid financial position. Our operating fund reserves total 31.57%. As I mentioned previously in prior months, the state requires a 3% minimum fund balance reserve, and again, we're at 31.57% in our operating fund reserves. The state of Missouri looks at about a 15 to 20% fund reserve as pretty strong, and so we exceed that currently. Wanted to bring to your attention, of course, we as a district, we receive a lot of our funding in the months of December and January as we begin to receive our property tax assessments. I'm sure you all in the community, our community patrons and citizens have been receiving those tax bills that get paid, and of course, about 50 to 52% of those monies that you pay in on your property taxes go to the local school district. And so we're going to be receiving basically an influx of those revenues both in December, the next report that we'll bring forward next month, as well as this month currently. So we're in a solid position financially. Moving on, this is a synopsis of basically the financial position and the results of operations through November 30th. Again, we had a beginning fund reserve at the beginning of the year, June 30th, 2023, of about $37.3 million. Again, as I mentioned, we had collected revenues of about $16 million through the end of November, with associated expenditures of about just under $25 million, which leaves us at an ending fund reserve, as I mentioned, at about $28.5 million on a budget of about $67 million expenditure budget, which gives us an overall fund reserve of 42.35%, as I mentioned, and the operating fund reserve, which is in what we call our general fund and our teachers fund, at 31.57%. This is a diagram I've shown you before, but basically our monies, the revenues that we have coming in, we get about 36% of our revenues coming from local sources on property tax assessments, etc. We get about 33% from state funding based on our state foundation formula, transportation funding, etc. Then we get another 30% from our federal funding. That's on basically title programming, ESSER funding, etc. We have a small 1% amount that comes from the county, basically penalties on late payments made on certain collections that the county collects. On our expenditure side, we have roughly, when we look at our operating or our overall budget, about 42% of our budget is dedicated towards salaries. 13% goes toward benefit packages to our employees. Roughly 17% goes toward purchase services for professional development, travel, bringing consultants in to educate our teachers, etc. And about 9% is spent on supplies, with another 14% on furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And so that's a synopsis basically of our annual budget. And then finally, just kind of noting, this district is slated to receive roughly about $18 to $20 million in revenue and property tax assessments this month and last month. So that's a positive thing going on. Even though the district is in a good, strong financial position, we are looking at a financial cliff that will be going on later this year as we begin to wind down on our ESSER 3 stimulus, the funding that we've received. Those monies will go away, and we're going to still be, of course, having to pay salaries, etc., that will begin to drive our reserves down. We're going to be looking at preparing for that. We're going to be looking at, we're going to be holding with you, the board, and with the community. We're going to be having a February 21st budget workshop. We'll be looking at and considering these various revenue sources and expenditure challenges. And that is pretty much our financial report for the month. And I'd like to ask you if you have any questions.
You stated that the financial cliff will be in October. Government kind of depletes itself.
That's correct, yes.
Ms. Belton, do you have any questions?
No, sir, I do not.
Thank you. Ms. Patton?
No.
Mr. Humphrey?
No questions.
Ms. Taylor?
No questions.
I have a request.
Yes, sir.
Could you, for our community, sort of give us a little bit of an understanding of our philosophy? We have not produced a balanced budget for this year, and we've been spending more than we've been bringing in and leaning into our balance in that process. Can you explain how, maybe give a little bit of an overview before our February budget meeting about how we'll make an adjustment to move towards a balanced budget or what will be required so that we understand the magnitude of this fiscal cliff that we're approaching?
Yes, we'll provide that in our budget workshop. That'll be something that we will be considering. Right now, in balancing the budget, that is something very important. Usually when organizations speak about a balanced budget, they're basically saying we want the revenues, the expenditures, the expenses that we spend or expend in that fiscal year to not exceed the revenues that are being brought in. So this is basically a zero base or a zero function. That's a balanced budget. You as the board actually made a decision, and it was a wise decision last June when you basically approved and rolled out the budget, but you basically made a decision to spend or to kind of spend into some of the fund reserves, the savings. Knowing kind of the picture and the things that you have going on this year and moving forward, a decision was made that, hey, we've got this strong fund balance position and we can spend into it to get us through a rainy day. That reserve, the purpose of that is really to get districts through rainy days. Really, in the cycle of education and operation, we're going to, we work hard, but there are sometimes going to be things that are unexpected that are going to, eat into our reserves. We're going to have more challenges. Maybe we're going to need to pay teachers or our staff returning personnel more. Maybe we're going to have some illnesses and we have, higher substitute costs, et cetera, things that we don't foresee, but that's why we build the fund reserves. And so those fund reserves are actually there to cover us in case we do have to go through some weathering, stormy weather. And so we'll consider those things, as you've mentioned, Mr. Hodge, at the upcoming budget workshop in February.
Thank you so much. There are no more questions.
Thank you.
Okay, so item 6.03. 5.03. I think we are hearing from KI at this point.
Good evening, distinguished board, Dr. Triplett, fellow staff members, and all the parents and the supporting families that make this district as great as it can be. Jocelyn Haynes, I have Michael Kennedy on this slide just because I flew in today and I was not sure if I was going to make it with the weather, so I was prepared just in case someone had to cover for me. So I prepared an executive summary we've been having conversations about, why are there spaces that were allocated to the project, like the pockets that we were just talking about with the asbestos. So I created this slide just to kind of give you an overview of the 4 projects that have been done. And the point of this slide is really to focus on that 7% and that C plus U only. That's the construction versus unknown. So whatever construction costs are unknown. So typically when the project is delivered to an owner, we would look for at least 10 to 12% of a contingency to manage the project that for unknowns that would just come up on the project. When I put this together, what was the best part of this was to see that we were under that typical budget that we would typically put on for any unforeseen conditions, asbestos and all those different things. So when you look at all these projects, they run under that factor, and it's pretty good. 86% of these change orders were due to unforeseen conditions, owner changes, and design issues. But with all that being said, it was well managed. Not tapping myself on the back, but with coming out of the challenges of just having inconsistent staff and different things like that, we made a decision as your construction manager. We're really focused and hypersensitive about the construction process, which was took me to the change orders, the change order process. So first thing, just so you know, before change order even comes to you, some change orders come here and some don't. The ones that do come, first thing we do is we identify the costs, we evaluate them, we negotiate for a better price as your construction manager, and then we recommend a cost. And then once we recommend the cost to the district, then we review it at the bond meeting, and then it goes for NSC approval, and then that issues a contract for approval to the contractor. This new change order process was designed for Normandy. It's nothing new to the industry, but we really had to cater it to the ever-changing processes that we're having, ever-changing people, a bunch of different things, the market, what was going on, and we wanted to make sure that you understood what that is. The last sentence, the last change management approval, our current process entails several stages. It starts with the project manager, followed by William, who's been a great resource to us as we've been able to dive in deeper into some of the costs. And then it goes to Dr. Triplett, and if it exceeds $10,000, it's processed. It proceeds to Ron Rock, chair, and after their approval, it reaches Carlton, and always with a copy to the facilities director. A key aspect of our change order management process. So that's a really key part. This is kind of happening in the latter part of the project, making this process so much smoother as we're going through trying to get this project done and providing a facility that everybody will be happy with. Project challenges, I'm not going to read these in detail, but some of the things we've talked about, decisions for scheduling, the leaderships within the school, changing different things like that, some of the perspective of the past administration. And, I'm happy to say that with Dr. Triplett being involved with the process now, it's been a whole lot smoother, and my whole team has seen that, and I think it's awesome to point that out. The incomplete design, there's many aspects of the project. Like I said, there were white boxes created that were not complete design. In these spaces, they decided to do it during the project. Limited information of the existing conditions. When something, you can't really plan for it, but in the construction process, like I said, it would be 10 to 15%, 10 to 12% is what you would typically put down as your contingency when you're managing projects of this magnitude. Now I'm going to move into the completion schedule for the school. Currently, it's exciting to see complete. West Hall is complete, SCA is complete, East Hall is complete, Central Hall is substantially complete. It's being, with the last movement, we moved it from where it was before to 5/31/24, and it's moving on track with this POC challenge that we were talking about. It being approved is going to actually help move that even faster, because one of the reasons why it's even brought up to the table is that to be done with this project, and anyone to ask any questions about why didn't we think about that. The bus lot is to be determined, and then central headquarters, the boardroom, this is an addition to the scope of work for us, and it's something that we wanted to track in this conversation and in this report. Here's a picture of the secure connector, the construction project update here, so substantially complete. Date was met on 8/14 for the first day of the 2023-2024 school year. The punch list process is near completion. It is near completion. The parking lot lights will be completed early this month, which should be in the coming days. Central Hall interior improvements. This is a picture of the units going on top of the roof. We've talked about that, but we actually caught it in action. Figured it would be a good shot to show through to the group here. Here's a picture of some of the walls that are in Central Hall, and it's a mixed bag of different finishes. So this is just an example of where we have sheetrock or chipboard to where we close off the lockers. So those were lockers were, and now we're putting sheetrock there to make it, and we did this in East Hall as well, so it's gonna look very similar to what was done over in East Hall. There's a construction project, just, some of the real part of the work that's happening on each one of the floors, as things have been ripped out and now being put back together. As always, this is the source of funds that coincides with received. We're not managing these numbers, these are just numbers that we received from the district. Update for change orders. Currently, all changes that you have in your packets that are talked about are all covered in any of these, these are updated daily. So the original contract was $33 million, approved change orders 5.2, pending change orders are around 1 million. The potential change orders 268,000, and then we have current potential contract amounts, which will take us to 40 million. Here again, different view, but this is the MBE goal. This is the Minority Business Enterprise and the Women Business Enterprise goals that we had set when we first were procured for the project. 25% was the goal for minority businesses, and we're hitting well at 36%. The goal for women-owned businesses is at 5%, we're at 3%. The total is at 9% overall, 19%, sorry. Here's just another snippet of our savings as we're negotiating these costs that come in. It's slowing down lately because we're wrapping up the projects, but we've been continually watching what conversations that we're having with the general contractor to look to see if there's any opportunities to save money for the district, and we make sure we continue to track that. Community outreach. So we talked about what we've done as a partner with the school to make sure that the students are getting opportunities to work with our organization, which is a Black organization that's been around for 43 years. We find hits home for someone, for especially me, knowing that this is an opportunity. The construction industry is an opportunity for anyone who's looking to get into it, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to do outreach opportunities, scholarships. Mr. Humphrey got me to commit to giving out some scholarships we're going to try to identify some students, and we're going to send them to, we'd like to send them to either a local college or any type of college that can get them to the trades. Thank you. Any questions?
To clarify, Mr. Humphreys has influenced KAI to create scholarships for our students. Is that
That's
correct?
correct.
I love that. That's great. Is that going to happen in 24?
24.
This year?
This year.
I love it. Do we have an amount yet?
No, we haven't worked that out.
We haven't worked it out. I think that's worth a round of applause.
Absolutely. We're proud to do it. It's something I'm excited about.
Thank you. Are there any comments, questions?
I have a few questions. Jocelyn,
Yes, ma'am.
is the theater. And then you mentioned about not all change orders are brought to the board, well, to the district. Is that because they're not needed, or?
So if it's over $100,000, it's not that it's not brought to the district, it's not brought to the board at large. It's brought to the bond meeting that we have every Thursday. Change order that is considered cost to the project, and it's under a certain dollar amount, is brought to Mr. Humphrey, everyone is involved at the school level who is in the meetings at our bond meeting. And again, I welcome you to come to any one of the meetings that we have morning and or Thursday. I think you'd be happy with the way things. A cost system doesn't come here and say, oh, we're going to spend it. It has to go through a process. As written, it goes through all these different steps, and then it goes to DocuSign, and everything is tracked and kept a record, so you can ask for any document and you can see everything you've ever done or anything that's ever been processed or approved.
Okay, that's the only question I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Other questions?
appreciate the hard work that you and all of the workers have put forward towards, erecting, the connector and building on the building, making it look nice, and shout out to Mr. Humphrey for his work, if nothing else, being there just to kind of keep the pressure on. And there were a lot of times that I know myself and Mr. Risa, we often said we never heard a lot about what was going on. But hearing and seeing, what you were presenting tonight, I just want to say thank you for your work that you're doing. Didn't mean to give you a hard time at the beginning, but that's what we do.
Yeah, I take say any hard time. The job is hard. It's not an easy job, and a lot of times it's thankless. So I appreciate the thank you, and I thank you for what you're doing for the students. I'm excited for the product that they're going to get at the end. We're doing everything we can do to make sure it's a quality product.
Great, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
I just had a comment, as the question was asked. The theater in and of itself is done, but we did discover that there were 2 rooms on the back of the theater that had been used for storage, and for whatever reason, there had not been a design built out for those. Fast track that process. Both of those rooms, so when they have play. Prior to the update of the theater, they were changing classrooms, they were using like the gymnasium space, and so this will actually give them dedicated dressing rooms behind the stage to do those things, and so those things are coming along as well. We're also doing some additional work. There'll be some additional work to refine the theater, the actual floor on the stage, because we've done some work, and when we looked at it, we felt we could do better than what we had. So we're, at some point, whether or not it becomes a maintenance item under Ms. Days, or if it's part of Prop B, we're still fleshing out those pricing so we can know exactly what's going to happen to the floor, but there will, the floor will be addressed in the very near future.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. We have one final question for Ms. Taylor.
And was there a great cost to renovate those rooms, or were they all in a pretty good condition?
It's mostly cosmetic.
Mostly cosmetic.
The space is there. It's just with the contractor, but it's something that we feel that it's probably advantageous and maybe more efficient for this use of the space.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone? With that, I'd like to move into item 6.01, items for action. I think you're going to ask us to approve some money at this point.
Mr. Hodge, you are correct with that. Again, good evening, Executive Governor and Dr. Triplett. I see he stepped away, and Normandy Schools community. Wanted to bring forth basically a couple of things that are going on. KI, our construction manager, has been working, and really they've been kind of working past the initial contract terms, and so we're bringing before you this evening as an action item a request basically to approve their extension of services. As Mr. Haynes had pointed out, they are committed all the way to run through the tape in completing this important initiative. And so we are again presenting to you basically extension of fees for their services to get this job fully done. Mr. Haynes had presented, of course, we have the May 31st effort for most of the project, but we also have the bus lot and some work at the Student Support Center as well that they're going to be helping us manage. And so that cost, again, they've been kind of working a little bit for free, I shouldn't put it that way, but we want to basically, request that there be an extension to the agreement for their services. And so that's here. Secondly, we have our architect, TRI. They also have been working a little bit pro bono, but they're basically working out a contract, and we have their fees also. There's an extension request to approve an extension of their services as well. So those totals basically equate to about $330,000 for KI services and another $69,400 for TRI, the architect. And so we present this to you, the board, at this time for approval.
We will entertain a motion to. So moved. Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to get that total again that's going to go to KAI
KI is $330,000.
and TRI is 69,000.
That's correct, yes.
I just would like to know what would be the work hours with the deadline coming up within the next 4 or 5 months. Will the work hours be extended? Will it be the same? How would that work?
I'm gonna let.
Yeah, so that's the next item, that's the general contractor who's actually doing the work. Their contract is also extended. Their work we're pushing them every time it stops. They're continuing to do their work. They are not working for free, but there's a balance when you're managing a project between keeping the ball rolling and not letting it stop with the trajectory. And they're holding still, because one of the things that we talked about when I first got up here was the schedule, and they've given this very tightly to see that they're meeting all their deadlines each day. So each subcontractor is talking to their general contractor, talking to us, and I'm telling you that they're going to be done May 31st.
Okay.
Come hook.
All right. I got a motion.
Are there other questions? Okay, with that being said, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, thank you.
5.01, where we talked about the Central Hall classroom wall update, is that going to be modified?
So there's a question, and I think that this is one of the things that came up earlier as an item for action for the fixing of those walls. That is a separate item for action, is that correct?
That is correct. We would like to, we request action on that tonight. That would help if we could get action from the board if you feel that you're in a spot to approve that this evening.
It is currently not on the agenda. So we would have to make a modification to the agenda for that item. That we put it on next month's agenda so that we can get the appropriate.
Well, say based on the material that's in front of us, that was part of the packet, all of the information that we need to have to make that decision is already there. I think what happened, this item was placed as an item for information when in fact it should have been an item for action. And to put it in, what this does, if you've been to East Hall and you've seen the final finish on the walls, it's basically to replicate that to make same polished finish. Because the last thing we wanted to do, building and have the walls, you know, when they had to take stuff down, they're like, they almost look like hockey pucks. They're round pieces of plaster. And so all of that has to be filled in so that the walls have the proper contour.
Mr. Humphries, what I will do is entertain a motion to move item for action 5.01, item for our information, 5.01 to an item for action, item 6.023.
As you have requested, I would ask that the board would consider to move 5.01 from an item for information to an item for action and approve that matter, because once we
have a second.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. Discussion. We received information about this item for action earlier in our meeting. Are there any additional questions? Being said, all those in favor of, we do need to, a motion to approve those expenses for improvements that have been proposed.
So moved.
Second.
It has been seconded. Is there any discussion? With that being said, I think we have we'll call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Has been approved for those expenses. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We had one other item, actually, 6.02. This is at the general contractor, Lowler Construction. We actually have an extension for them as well as far as the fees with regard to their contract. They are, again, working to get the programming completed by May 31st, and they are working vigorously. As Mr. Haynes has mentioned, as our construction manager, they're managing that construction daily. But we have, again, in ensuring that we update the contract with their extended services, that's a cost of about $195,000. And we are asking at this time that you approve this as well. 95.
We do need to make an adjustment in the agenda and make that item 6.03. That, the one we just approved was 6.02, we voted on that. And so I'm going to entertain a motion to change item 6.02 Lawler Corporation, which you just heard from, to item 6.03. And then we'll take a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Great. It's been moved and properly second to change this item from 6.02 to 6.03. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It has been approved. Thank you. Now I will entertain a motion for the dollar amount of $195,561. $95,560.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. It has been approved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those have the same privilege. Thank you. It has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we move to item 7.0, item for consent. We have, the information has been distributed and reviewed by all board members at this time, so I will call for a motion to approve the consent items 7.0.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Consent has been approved. I think that brings us to item 7.03. Is that right?
No.
0.2.
No, based on what we just did, if you look at items for consent, 7.01 to 8.02 would be cut.
Our board secretary has given me a wonderful outline of our agenda here, and I just need to follow it. All right, thank you. So, that's great. So we're already here. Is this the end of our meeting?
Yes.
Oh, this is wonderful. I guess I just want to hang out with y'all a little bit longer. All right, so we would, at this time, we'd like to move to our executive session, but we need a motion to close our general meeting.
Do we have any board?
You need board comments, so. All right, so Let's have board comments starting. Yeah, so we'll go to board comments. We'll start with our student representative, Ms. Belton.
Okay, so I want to first comment about the public comment because and I've said that a lot. Like we have PTSO and I'm also a part of that at the high school, but we don't really get parents. So we need Thursday I will be going to my petition. You know guys, and then also back to the parent month because I really mean it. Like coming from a student, it should like help. It should encourage parents to step up a little bit more. Come see the school, come check out the teachers. We have a lot of events and I've even hosted a few at the high school. So if we have events, please just show up.
Thank you, Ms. Belton. Ms. Pearson.
Good evening, everyone. I have a few comments and announcements to make. The first one has to do with a lot of our sports teams throughout the school district. Our middle school basketball teams will have games coming this Thursday, starting at 4:45 p.m. So it would be great to show up and show them a little love. Along with January 19th, there's a home game for the varsity girls against U City at 6 p.m. On January 17th, the wrestling team is hosting a tournament in Normandy. I am a graduate of Normandy, and I don't remember there being a tournament in Normandy for wrestling. So it would be great to see the community, parents, teachers, administration show up. And then the boys have a February 6th game against STEM Academy. Also, there's a MLK celebration going on this weekend. It's hosted by the communities of Pine Line and Wellston, along with Young Voices with Action. There's going to be a parade starting at Normandy High School at 10 a.m. And the program is going to be at Barack Obama at 12 p.m. To touch on the parent comments, the community comments that were stated at the beginning of the meeting, we do need more parent involvement. I am a parent also of the school district, so I'm just as worried and have issues too. I'm asking questions also, and when I ask the questions, I'm not asking as a board member, I'm asking as a parent. I have a middle school, I don't have a high school, but I ask on all boards because if I find out something that another parent needs to know, I'll gladly pass on the information. But we do need to step up as parents and show our faces more. And if you have a complaint or if you have an issue, bring it to whomever and keep bringing it to them until you see something solved. That's pretty much what I have today. Just as a community, love on your people. Show them love when you don't think they need it, especially our babies, because they're going through things just like all of us are. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pearson. Ms. Patton.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for not giving up, because it's so much easier to give up than to dig in. I too agree that there needs to be parent involvement to support not only our community, but our children. Because yes, there are things that could be better, but if we don't come together as a beloved community, it won't get better.
Thank you, Ms. Patton. Ms. Humphrey. Mr. Humphrey.
Well, first of all, let's look at the programs that are impacted. Things I did have an opportunity to do on January 4th. Actually went to the first basketball game for the girls and the boys at Whitfield High School. And I would say a couple of things. Number one, I think that the girls, you can tell, I've been around basketball a lot of years, and I can tell from the team that they were relatively new as a sport. But the thing that my takeaway for the girls was that even though they were in a losing position, two things happened. They maintained good sportsmanship, and they played hard to the end of the game. And that's very important when you're trying to build a better team. The other thing of note was that they had a cheerleading squad with probably not less than 15 girls that were in the cheerleading squad, and their uniforms were the look that they had. They were extremely spirited throughout the entire competition. The boys also played. The boys played well. They won. Then the takeaway was, number one, they looked well as they competed. They had great sportsmanship, and even at the end of the game, there was a lot of sportsmanship between the teams. So what I saw was a very positive thing on behalf of the district. And I will say that as I was at the game, there were parents from the middle school at the game. So we did have some parents in attendance. And like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to going to some of the other games.
Thank you, Mr. Humphrey. Ms. Taylor.
I'd like to say once again, thank you to all of the staff. Thank you to KAI, who's doing a great job with the high school. And I had the opportunity, most of you are, and I've said it many times, Macy's in the Galleria. And often when I have to ask for a zip code, if it's a 63114 or 63121, that gives me an opportunity to talk. And so I'm always saying, come and be a part of the meetings. Come and be a part of the community. If you know parents, if you're a grandparent, if you're an uncle, you're an aunt, get the word out, spread the word out, and let people, let the community know we need the support of the parents. And the question has been, there are things that we know have gone on in different schools, the high school, the middle school, and a lot of the people are saying, but where are the parents? So I'll ask that question when I meet people from districts. What are you all doing to get the parents out? I attended Grandparents' Day with one of my granddaughter, the school district right there on Bell Fountain. And of course they had food. And I'm telling you, there were about 100 grandmas and grandpas that were there. And a lot of times people will come for the food. And we know that, but we want them to come because we want them to be involved in what's going on with our children. So many times you hear nothing but negativity when things go on. But we need to really try to find a way to get the community more involved. Children. And we want our children to have a safe place. I think that's Normandy Police Chief back there high, and even the support that we get from the police departments, because we know it really does take a village to raise our children. And so I don't have an opportunity a lot like Miss Pearson or Mr. Humphrey to go to, a lot of the sports games. I did that when my son was in high school. He was on the football team. My daughter was a cheerleader, so I did a lot of those things, and now I don't have the opportunity. But my heart is for the children, and my concern is that our children will get nothing but the best, nothing but the best. And so I just want to say, keep up the good work. Do whatever you can. Spread the word. Most of all, spread the word. We are a community. I believe we all love Normandy. And so we want nothing but the best. And the only way that the word is going to get out is word of mouth. It's word of mouth. So spread the word wherever you go. Let people come to the meetings. Come and see what's going on with the events and things that we have going on. And I think the event on MLK Day, not only will my granddaughter, she's an 8th grader girl, and she said I had decided I didn't want to sing. I was gonna just go down and I was gonna, try to get in sports. But she said, but Miss Palmer said to her, no, you need to get back in the choir. She's proud to be in the choir. She told me, Granny, you need to make sure that you were there to see me sing. And not only am I gonna be there, I'm gonna get my other grandchildren, and I'm gonna bring them to the event because I want them to see what Normandy is doing and hope that we can inspire our children. Because for me, it's all about the children. It's all about the children. Thank you for this time.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. I heard an amen. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Even the state of Missouri moved their meeting to a remote meeting because folks at the state level didn't show up, but Normandy did. So thank you for being here in person. Thank you for those who are online. But if you're online, you don't see all of these wonderful faces who represent what has been said tonight. Even my good friend Farrakhan Shiga came in tonight, layered up. Wonderful partners in this district, and just about every single person who has spoken tonight, especially this board, has echoed one single point. There's an old book called, I think it's 9 Habits of the Heart. It was written by a gentleman from Greenville, Mississippi. He's an older guy, and he talked about when he was growing up that there were people who had what he called a benevolent conspiracy for his education. That there was the person who came and picked him up from their little plots of land around where they would share, his children would share property, put them in the back of the truck and drove them to the school. When they got to the school, the janitors had already cleaned it up. It was in a church house, and there was food waiting for them. Teacher prepared to give them their lesson, and that there was an entire community that was conspiring for their success. And that is exactly what we've heard tonight. I think it was Ms. Patton, you heard beloved community, if I was right. This is a beloved community. I don't know the difference between beloved, but beloved just sounds more appropriate. You know? This is a very big task. We need all. So thank you for putting your hands into the staff and our volunteers and our parents for showing up, and our community for being a part of this benevolent conspiracy. And thank you for allowing me to stumble through this agenda tonight with our president. We appreciate you all. With that being said, I'll turn it over to our fearless leader.
I appreciate you. Good evening, community board and Normandy Schools Collaborative staff members. When you're up against the trouble, meet it squarely, face to face. Take your chin, set your shoulders, plant your feet, take a brace. When this vein try to die, save you, see it through. Now I quote that because we have to own this work. We can't run from this work. Our kids are not running from us, so we can't run from them. I received a phone call, troubling phone call, from a student, and I put her out there, Alex. Her close friend was too prideful to reach out to me, but I know her close friend. And she was around housing. I received a call on a Sunday. I called Chris Kramer that Sunday. I also had a conversation with Ms. Sean, and we found that families in emergency housing, and we found that Monday. That's what families do for families. So, Alex, because that probably would not have happened had she not reached out, had the courage enough to reach out to me. So thank you, Alex. You're not afraid to reach out to you and tell me. So the district's data came back in December, and we're currently disaggregating the data such that it makes sense to us, let alone makes sense to you. But I can give you a few pointers that they're good and troubling. So in last year's math results, in our grades 3 through 8, we had a 5% increase in our students reading proficient and advanced. So that is a major, major accomplishment, 5% increase. That tells you our students in grades 3 and 8 are reading. In math, we had a 1% increase from below basic to basic. That's still movement, that's growth. One troubling spot is in our high schools. We just have to get some, I truly believe we have the right people in place, the right systems in place. It's just like Novocaine, it takes time and work. Patient with your sales, high school staff, it'll work, just stay the course. Our 5-year graduation rate went up 1%. Actually, I'm sorry, 10%. I don't have the numbers, but I do have the percentage. You'll get the numbers in the next meeting when I have a presentation with regards to the dropout rate stayed the same. Our 4-year college participation rate increased a percent. 2-year college participation increased 1%. Our trade school decreased 6%. And you can attribute that to one trade school, and we just have not found out where they are, to the increased participation in our 2- and 4-year college participation. There is no secret that we have had some issues on our campuses with weapons. I'm not a proponent of putting our kids in jail and contributing to prison school pipeline, but I am an advocate for consequences should they need consequences. Why am I saying this? It's real easy for 500 people to see you. It's real hard for you to see 500 people. So anything we do when we have weapons on our campuses, we have to respond accordingly. Like we can't exploit students. The students look out that window and, oh, by the way, that person had this kind of weapon and they're being sent home with their parents. We cannot send that kind of message. And I'm not saying we go out and we start just arresting students. I'm saying we need to keep our buildings safe. And in order to keep our buildings safe, we have to respond absolutely with confidence. At the high school started this Yonder Pouch initiative. So that'll be underway, and it's our hope that that Yonder Pouch initiative help curtail some of these issues we have around student behaviors and conduct when it comes to being redirected about your cell phones in classes. Because that gets really nasty, and that's what a lot of parents don't see, how their children act when they're asked to put their phones away. You don't get that cursing out the students do teachers, parents. I wish you could be flies on the wall and you can see how some of our children act when they're asked to put their phones away. So that Yonder Pouch initiative is on the way, and I strongly, unequivocally support it. Middle school had an issue around a gun in the building. And so I had a conversation with the administration team at the middle school. So now the initiative is we will have clear book bags. So I had a conversation with Mr. Kramer again, and Mr. Kramer introduced Mr. Brooks. I want to thank Mr. Brooks because Mr. Brooks found me some money so that I could purchase 600 clear book bags, and we procured 600 clear book bags for the middle school. And I know Chief back there like, yes. So it's things like that. You cannot do this work, we cannot do this work alone. It takes community partners, which is one of my biggest concerns coming into the district, is that we burned that relationship previously before we get that relationship back, because I don't function without partnership. So parents, please get aboard, because this is a strong train. Get aboard this train. Let's ride this Norman Schools Collaborative Board to the next century and make learning for our students amazing. Thank you. Be safe driving home.
Can we give it up for my superintendent, please? It is 7:23. I will entertain a motion to adjourn our general meeting, our regular meeting. It has been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Who was the second? Pearson. Pearson had it first, and Taylor had it second. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Great. This meeting is adjourned. We will move into executive session. Oh, we do need to do attendance again?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so,
Ms. Alex Middleton. Ms. Pearson. Ms. Patton.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey. Yes. Ms. Taylor. And Mr. Hopper.
yes.